The landscape of the AFC South is shifting tonight, and the Indianapolis Colts are right at the center of a potential earthquake that could redefine their entire defensive identity for the next 3 seasons. We are talking about a move that signals a complete departure from the conservative approach we have seen in recent years under this front office. If you want to stay ahead of every major roster move and insider update coming out of the building on West 56th Street, you need to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now. You do not want to miss the context behind this trade proposal that has everyone talking. Budda Baker is the name currently echoing through the halls of the Colts practice facility as analysts, and league insiders urge Chris Ballard to pull the trigger on a franchise-altering trade with the Arizona Cardinals. We are looking at a scenario where Indianapolis sends a third-round pick and a future late-round selection to secure one of the most decorated safeties in the modern era. Baker is a 30-year-old powerhouse with 8 Pro Bowls and over 1,000 career tackles on his resume, representing the kind of veteran leadership and playmaking ability that this young secondary desperately lacks right now. The departure of Nick Cross to the Commanders in free agency left a massive void at the safety position that has yet to be filled with a player of comparable impact. This isn't just about adding a body. It is about adding a defensive engine that can facilitate the aggressive schemes the coaching staff wants to implement. With Arizona currently in a deep rebuilding phase, they are reportedly looking to offload veteran contracts to accumulate draft capital, making this the perfect window for the Colts to strike. Baker has 2 years and $33 million remaining on his current deal, a figure that might seem daunting to some, but the Colts are currently sitting on roughly $26.6 million in cap space, making this move financially viable if the structure is handled correctly. Imagine a secondary where a Hall of Fame caliber safety is providing the over-the-top support for a unit that already features elite talent like Sauce Gardner on the perimeter. The synergy between a veteran ball hawk and lockdown corners could turn this defense into a top 5 unit overnight. However, the true motivation behind this aggressive pursuit goes beyond just the defensive side of the ball, as it relates directly to the massive investment the team has made in the offensive backfield and how they plan to protect their competitive window. The internal conversations suggest that the front office is finally ready to move away from the slow build philosophy to embrace a high-stakes strategy that aims for immediate results. But there is a specific reason why this trade makes more sense now than it did 6 months ago, and it involves the guy taking the snaps under center and how his contract situation dictates every single move the team makes from this point forward. Do you think Chris Ballard should finally move away from his draft and develop mantra to trade for a superstar like Budda Baker? This is a win-now move that could define the next era of Colts football. Drop your thoughts in the comments below right now because we need to discuss if this price is too high or just right. Daniel Jones is the focal point of this entire strategic shift because the Colts understand that his development and success are directly tied to how much pressure the defense can take off his shoulders. By bringing in a veteran like Budda Baker, the team is effectively ensuring that Jones doesn't have to win every game in a high-scoring shootout. The plan is to build a defensive wall that allows the offense to play with more freedom and less fear of catastrophic turnovers, turning into easy points for the opponent. Inside the building, the staff is looking at the 2026 season as a pivotal year where the roster construction reaches its peak maturity with Jones at the helm. The presence of Baker would provide the safety net needed to allow the defensive line to be more aggressive in their pass rush, knowing they have an elite playmaker cleaning up behind them. It is a domino effect that starts with the safety position and ends with the quarterback's efficiency. When you look at the successful blueprints in this league, it almost always involves a veteran presence in the secondary who can mask the mistakes of younger players. Daniel Jones benefits from this because a dominant defense provides better field position and more opportunities for the offense to establish a rhythm. The trade proposal isn't just a random suggestion. It is a calculated recommendation based on how the Colts are currently constructed. They have the star power at cornerback with Sauce Gardner, and the veteran leadership at safety would be the final piece of that puzzle. We are hearing that the front office has been evaluating the safety market heavily, and Baker's name is at the top of the list because of his unique ability to play in the box and also cover deep halves. This versatility is exactly what the defensive coordinator has been begging for since the start of the offseason. The cost of a 78th overall pick is a small price to pay when you consider the immediate upgrade in win probability. The Cardinals are listening to offers, and the Colts are one of the few teams with the cap flexibility to absorb that contract without gutting the rest of the roster. This is about maximizing the value of every player on the field, especially when you have a quarterback whose window of elite play needs to be capitalized on immediately before the next major contract negotiation looms over the franchise. The impact of this potential trade reaches far into the future of the Indianapolis Colts organization. For years, Chris Ballard has been criticized for being too patient with his draft picks, often watching high-end veteran talent sign elsewhere while the Colts maintained a healthy but unused salary cap. Executing a trade for Budda Baker would signal a massive shift in organizational philosophy, proving that the Colts are finally ready to act like a big market contender. From a roster perspective, this move solves the biggest weakness on the team. Nick Cross was a productive player, but he wasn't a game-changer of Baker's caliber. By adding Baker, the Colts would essentially be fast-tracking their defensive development by 3 years. This isn't just a short-term rental either. Baker is 30, which in modern NFL terms means he still has several high-level seasons left in the tank to anchor this secondary. Looking ahead to the 2025 and 2026 seasons, a defense featuring Baker and Sauce Gardner would be a nightmare for any AFC quarterback to navigate. This move also puts the rest of the division on notice. The Texans and Jaguars have been aggressive in their own right, and the Colts cannot afford to stay stagnant while their rivals are loading up on blue-chip talent. The future of this franchise depends on these high-leverage decisions. If they pass on Baker and the safety position remains a liability, they risk wasting another year of a talented roster. However, if they make the move, they solidify themselves as a legitimate threat in the AFC. The cap space is there, the draft capital is manageable, and the need is undeniable. We are watching a moment where the front office has to decide if they want to be safe, or if they want to be champions. The locker room morale would also skyrocket with the addition of a respected veteran like Baker, who brings a playoff pedigree and a relentless work ethic that resonates with young players. This is the kind of move that changes the culture of a building from hopeful to expectant. The ripple effects will be felt in every meeting room as the margin for error for the rest of the defense becomes much wider. The Colts are currently at a crossroads, and the path they choose regarding this safety vacancy will tell us everything we need to know about their true ambitions for the upcoming season and beyond. Ultimately, this trade for Budda Baker represents more than just a transaction on a spreadsheet. It represents the moment the Indianapolis Colts decide to stop waiting for the future and start owning the present. For too long, this fan base has heard about 3-year plans and developmental arcs, while watching other teams make the bold moves necessary to hoist a trophy. Bringing in an 8-time Pro Bowler to play alongside Sauce Gardner and support Daniel Jones is the ultimate all-in statement. It tells the players, the fans, and the rest of the NFL that Indianapolis is no longer satisfied with being a tough out. On Sundays, they want to be the team that everyone else is afraid to play. This is about changing the narrative of the franchise from a team that builds to a team that wins. If Chris Ballard pulls this off, it will be remembered as the defining moment of his tenure, the point where he finally matched his elite scouting with elite aggression. The secondary is the heart of the modern NFL defense, and with Baker at the helm, that heart would beat with a ferocity we haven't seen in Indy for a long time. It provides a sense of security that allows every other piece of the puzzle to fall into place. But now I have to ask you, the most dedicated fans in the world, is Budda Baker the final piece of the championship puzzle for this team? Or are you worried about the age and the contract? Are you ready to see this team sacrifice the future to win right now? This is the debate that will dominate the offseason, and your voice matters in this conversation. Make sure you hit that like button if you want to see this trade happen, and subscribe to the channel so you are the first to know the second the news breaks. We are tracking every lead and every phone call coming out of the Colts headquarters. This is an era of high stakes and even higher expectations for the Horseshoe. Stay tuned, stay informed, and let's see if the front office has the courage to make the move that changes everything. The window is open, the talent is available, and the time for action is now. Go Colts!